Hello and welcome to We Do Disney. My name's Doug and today we're going to be going over the ultimate Fastpass guide for 2018 and beyond.
You and I till the end, don't need to pretend. Again and again, we'll stick together. Everything is alright with you by my side. We won't say goodbye, we'll stick together.
So if you have never booked a Fastpass before, you don't know what it is, when you can start booking them, or how to book them, pop right up here. This is going to be your Fastpass Basics video that I've already recorded back before the beard and everything else. Today, in this video, we're talking strategy. We're going to do 3 different things today. The first of which is I'm going to take you step by step on how to book Fastpasses so you get the most out of your time. Now this goes beyond the standard 3 Fastpasses that you can book in advance. After that, I'm going to go over the 3 different types of people that I think exist planning-wise, and how this system can benefit each of those types of people. And third and final, I am hopefully going to go out into the parks and do it myself, so you can see it in action, so you know I'm not just talking, I can actually do it when I visit a place like the Magic Kingdom. Without further ado, let's get into the step-by-step. Now, why do I call this the ultimate Fastpass guide? Well, it's because I think this is the best way that you can get the most out of your time when visiting Walt Disney World. Now, to reiterate a couple Fastpass basics, when it comes to your Fastpasses that you book ahead of time, you book them in windows. They show up as, let's say I wanted to book Peter Pan at noon and then Space Mountain at 1. The Peter Pan slot, or the window where you can show up, is from noon until 1 p.m. You cannot have another Fastpass that overlaps into that time. So your next available slot begins at 1 p.m., let's say it was Space Mountain, you book it for 1 p.m., it goes till 2 p.m. And again, you can't have another Fastpass overlapping that time. So between the hours of noon, right at 12, until 2 p.m., you can only have 2 Fastpasses. Unless, this is where this gets great, unless it is your last Fastpass of the day. Because as soon as you scan in to the Fastpass queue of your last Fastpass of the day, you can immediately go into the My Disney Experience application and start looking for a Fastpass that can creep in to that window that was previously blocked out. For example, let's say I go to Space Mountain. I have a 1 to 2 o'clock booking at Space Mountain. That's when I can show up for my Fastpass. I get there at 1:15, I scan into the queue. I can then go on the My Disney Experience app, and as long as that was my last booked Fastpass of the day, I could get a Fastpass for the Tomorrowland Speedway for 1:30. That is encroached on that 1 to 2 o'clock window. Now, even better, let's say I ride Space Mountain, I come back to Earth, I've had a blast, I go over to the Speedway, and I scan into the Speedway at 1:30. I can then book a Mad Tea Party Fastpass for 1:45 if it's available. Now I've had 1, 2, 3 Fastpasses between 1 and 1:45. And again, as soon as I scan into the Mad Tea Party Fastpass queue, I can book a Fastpass for Winnie the Pooh, Peter Pan. The list goes on. So the reason I call this the ultimate Fastpass guide is because as soon as you've finished your last Fastpass of the day, you can now go one at a time, and again, the limit is 1 Fastpass at a time. That will then overlap the previously established windows, and you can do more than 1 Fastpass within a given hour. So that was a bit of a step-by-step. I'm gonna go over it once more. So step number 1, look at your My Disney Experience app, identify which Fastpass is going to be your final Fastpass of the day that you've booked in advance. 2, scan into that final Fastpass queue. 3, as soon as you're in that Fastpass queue, open up My Disney Experience and you're able to book your next Fastpass for as soon as possible. This can overlap the previously established window that we were talking about before. 4, Repeat that process as many times as you like. There is no limit to how many times you can do this in a given day. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the different people that come to Walt Disney World and how you can use this system to your maximum benefit, because we all like to book things a little bit different. The first type of person we're going to talk about are the planners, the ones who are notorious for Excel spreadsheets, tons of advanced dining reservations, and knowing when you're going to be at any given ride at any given moment throughout the day. There is nothing wrong with this. I grew up in a family that had a color-coded spreadsheet so we would know when and where we were going to be on any given day of our Walt Disney World vacation. These people can still benefit from this ultimate Fastpass system because after you've completed your 3 advanced booked Fastpasses, you can then begin the one-at-a-time succession of Fastpasses, and that can save you a lot of time. Even if the waits are low, let's say 15 minutes, 20 minutes a ride, and it only takes you 5 minutes to get on any given ride with the Fastpass system, you're still saving 15 minutes or so each time you do that. Do that for 4 rides within an hour, and all of a sudden you've gained an hour of park time that you didn't have before. Now, that's not to say that other people might benefit more if you don't have as many advanced Fastpasses made. The second type of person we're going to talk about is the must-have. A must-have type person just has 1 or maybe 2 different rides that they have to have a Fastpass for in order to make their trip feel complete. These people are going to benefit more than the people who have planned out all 3 Fastpasses because they're going to start the one-at-a-time system earlier on in the day because they aren't limited by those 3 one-hour windows. For example, let's say I know I'm going to get to the parks around 10 o'clock, so I book a 10 o'clock Fastpass to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad at the Magic Kingdom. I get there a little bit before 10, I scan into my Fastpass right at 10 o'clock, and as soon as I do, I can book my next Fastpass for 10:15, and I can continue doing that earlier. Let's say the same person comes to the Magic Kingdom with that same first Fastpass, but they're a planner. They're going to have a 10 to 11, an 11 to 12, and a 12 to 1 Fastpass. 3 hours booked up that they could have been using the one-at-a-time system, like the must-have, but instead they have to wait until that final Fastpass has been completed. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. The third type of person that comes to Walt Disney World are those that don't plan at all. And sometimes I'm like this too. Don't have a plan, just want to go to the parks to be able to enjoy the experience of being there. But when you get there, maybe you feel like going to the Haunted Mansion. Maybe you have to ride Thunder Mountain Railroad or want to take a cruise with the Jungle Skipper. If that's the case, the people who don't plan any Fastpasses in advance can book whatever they feel like going to as soon as they're headed to the park and then continue just as before. You do your first one, and as soon as you scan into that Fastpass queue, you'll be able to book your second Fastpass as soon as you would like. I hope this makes a whole lot of sense, but if it doesn't, I'm going to show you how it works, because these things are great in theory when people talk about them, but if you go into the parks and it doesn't make any sense or it doesn't work the way you thought it would, what's the point? So now I'm going to go get changed, we're going to go to the Magic Kingdom, hopefully it's a lot nicer than it looks like outside, and I'm going to try and go through as many Fastpasses as I can in a single hour. Alright, so we're headed into the Magic Kingdom and it couldn't be more perfect. Today there's a Halloween party starting at 7. That means I need to get the most out of my Fastpasses during this first hour. Now I have booked 1 Fastpass ahead of time, which is Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. And that is available right now. So I'm heading into Tomorrowland. I have my first Fastpass booked for Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. As soon as I scan into the ride, that's when I'm gonna start looking on my phone for my next Fastpass as soon as possible, maximizing my time and the amount of rides I get to ride in a single day. I booked my next Fastpass, I'm gonna ride my ride, and after that I can work on modifying it to an earlier time. But for now, Galactic Hero status. Definitely not my best score, but still pretty good. Alright, after I got off of Buzz Lightyear with Space Ranger Spin, I did a quick modify because I wanted something a little bit closer, so I'm going to Winnie the Pooh. My Fast Pass is for 4 o'clock. Alright, it's about 4:55, which means in the last hour we've gone from Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin to Winnie the Pooh, over to Small World, and here to Pirates. Pretty efficient use of our time, if I don't say so myself. Now, let's go back home. Alright, back from the parks, and as you can see I was successful. I was able to ride 4 different rides using Fast Passes, all within 1 hour. Now, it was a relatively quiet day, so most of the queues for standby were only about 20 minutes, but even so, 20 minutes turning into 5 minutes because I used a Fast Pass gains me 15 minutes per ride. With 4 rides within an hour, I've saved an entire hour worth of waiting in standby queues. Even on the quiet days, it's worth getting these Fast Passes so that you can maximize the time in the parks. There is one more benefit that I forgot to touch on because I was so fixated on going to the Magic Kingdom. If you go to some of the other parks, such as Epcot, that has the Fastpass Plus system, which means there's a tier. There are major rides and there are minor rides. The major rides include Test Track, Soarin', and the Meet and Greet with Mickey and Pals. Those are all major rides, and when you're booking in advance, you can only book one of these at a time. There are then the minor rides, which usually have a lower wait time. Some of those include Spaceship Earth or Journey into the Imagination and maybe Living with the Land. These you usually book 2 of at a time in conjunction with that one major ride. Now, once you've ridden 1 major and 2 minor at the parks like Epcot, you then go into that system like we were talking about, booking 1 Fast Pass at a time. When you do that, it could be the major rides over and over and over again. So let's say my morning consisted of I did Test Track, then I rode Figment, and then I rode Spaceship Earth. Those were all in a row. I then can ride Test Track. And then after that, if I found a Soarin' Fast Pass, I can do that. After that, I can do the character meet and greet, then go over to Frozen, then come back to Test Track. As long as the Fast Passes are available, you can book them without having to book any minor rides to pair with the major ones. This is great if you love certain rides, but you don't want to deal with a long wait. Head to the parks early, get those first 3 passes done, and start looking for those Fast Passes for the major rides like Test Track. I hope this has been helpful. I hope this ultimate Fast Pass guide gives you a little bit of insight for your next Walt Disney World experience. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and definitely subscribe to our channel. We are bringing new things to this channel every single week, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again. Bye.
You cut me loose and set me free.